Welcome to Under the Basswood Tree with Basswood Counsel, a podcast where we bring you brief, valuable conversations and insights to help you navigate the complex world of business transactions. From cross-border deals to international tax structuring, we cover topics across all industries. Our team and colleagues will share their insights and provide practical tips on key issues for you and your business. Let's get started.
Excited to have you join us today. And a couple of people were here during our sort of launch ceremony, I believe. So we made it for a full year. Yay! And we are looking forward to many more years. So before we get started, I just wanted to share, we are video recording this, so no one should be surprised. But I thought it might be nice to just see a little bit of who's in the room. Obviously, I am Meg Charles. I'm one of the co-founders as well as partner of Basswood. And
Chris Klug, one of the co-founders and partners in Basswood Counsel as well.
We thought it would be a great opportunity to record one of our podcasts during this anniversary event, offer you perhaps some insights, maybe pique your interest in some recent developments in the law. But then this is actually very consistent with our view, which is to be in partnership. And by that, we mean we're offering information, we're offering guidance. And frankly, we just like to be humans. And we wanted to have this be an opportunity to just exchange, relate. So with that, welcome everyone to this special anniversary podcast episode of Basswood Counsel. And as you know, we call these gatherings Under the Basswood Tree. So about a year ago, the co-founders of this firm, we set out to redefine how legal services are delivered. We wanted to establish a firm that is grounded in trust with our clients, in collaboration with each other, and true partnership with our clients, and offer strategic insights because we believe every dollar you spend on legal should have a direct correlation to advancing your business. And that is what we mean by true partnership. So our guiding principle has always been navigating legal complexities with care.
So as a firm, we kind of mentioned that we want to customize our legal services to what we think they should be. And part of that is listening to our clients, our colleagues, and especially everyone within the firm. Today, we want to take some time to reflect on how we're doing it, the ideas, and the purpose of Basswood. We'll start by talking about our values and how they've guided our every decision.
So, and actually I had a really interesting conversation, a brief conversation about the name of the firm. So why was Basswood born? We started as a conversation. I'll share a little bit. I first met Chris, and Chris is my personal estate lawyer, as well as my personal tax advisor. That's how we met, I think like 17 years ago, roughly.
You guys are making me really old today.
Yes. And I basically, as a client, followed Chris through his evolution at a couple of big law firms. I started my career at a big law firm and became a partner at that law firm and resigned 18 months after. There are quite a variety of reasons, but at the core, when I left the big law, it had to do with the fact that it was not aligned with who I am and how I wanted to practice. Chris had similar experiences as he evolved, as well as some of the other co-founders. And we said, well, what didn't we like about those places where we were? And basically, it really came down to the law is the law. I believe the law is a tool that we should help, as lawyers, we should be helping our clients achieve their business goals, not simply tell them what the law is and be so happy about our, high-end education and so forth. And so that's when we see the partnership with our clients, really kind of focusing in on that. And so while we learned a lot, refined our skills at these big law firms, we wanted to create a place where the relationships and the strategy came before the hierarchy and the formality. I wanted personally to practice law with soul. People kind of chuckle when I say you can practice law with soul, but that's really at the heart of it. And for me, that means alignment with who I am. That means alignment with the idea of not being totally transaction at all times. If we're creating value, we'll be paid for that value. But we're not focused on just billing as many hours as possible. We're focused on helping our clients achieve what it is they're seeking to achieve with their businesses, with their practices, with their lives, depending on where we are.
Couldn't agree more. So as Meg said, I've gone in and I brought Gina and Renee with me to various big law firms, some others that were more boutique, and there was always something a little off. One big thing is to listen to the client. You'll never catch us around a table saying how much we bill the client. And unfortunately, that's an ego thing that goes on at a lot of law firms, that I was able to bill this client X, and then the other one's competing to bill another company that much. That's never at the center of what we do. The center of what we do is to get the job done right for our clients. And that starts with listening. Too often, the lawyer thinks they know more than the client without even knowing their situation. They've done an X transaction before, and the client's facts kind of sound like that X transaction, so they're going to do that. That's only not interesting way to practice. It's not customization. To us, we like to figure out what it is the client needs and customize the way we work with our client to it, starting with listening to them. What are their goals? Anyone can throw paper around. It could be this big. Maybe that looks impressive, but is it doing what the client wants? And that's the core, is to listen to the client and make sure that we're doing what the client needs. Now, that doesn't mean you can buy our opinion. What that means is we're going to listen to you, give you the options that can get that result, and find a solution that works. If something just simply can't work, as an attorney, it's absolutely our obligation to tell you that. But this is what inspired us to have the Basswood Tree as a symbol. So it provides unity, prosperity, and meaningful dialogue. Now, I was talking with a gentleman earlier. He was explaining in Africa that everything, well, certain countries probably, but everything happens underneath the tree. That's where meaningful dialogue with people. You need to talk to people for communities to come together, to understand each other. And so I think the Basswood Tree is a really good symbol for the firm.
Yeah, so the idea was very simple, but actually pretty ambitious, to deliver hands-on, senior-level counsel to help our clients move with clarity and confidence. So whether you're launching a startup, launching a new fund, expanding globally, managing complex transactions, our aim is to really give you the clarity with respect to the law, but also to give you that confidence that you have people backing you in partnership to make sure you achieve.
That's 100% correct. And I think one part of it is we're genuine. We're not going to look you in the eyes and tell you something that we don't believe. We're truly there with you. And you don't see that a lot in law firms. Is it caring, genuineness? All these core values that we have is we truly believe we're there with you. It's not just a transaction, as Meg has been saying. Our clients have real life situations, whether it's business or individual, and they want to accomplish their goals. So you got to listen to them, and you got to figure out what the possible solutions are. But you do it with the client. You don't leave the client behind on that journey.
So can you give us an example of how we put that into action?
I've never done so. There's a few examples, but one, we worked with this client. He came to us after he started with some other firms, probably in business 10 to 15 years. And he's done everything right. He's gone to the advisors to get a business succession plan in place, to decide what type of entity to form. And when he came to us, there was a couple of things wrong. The tax returns were a mess, and he was way overpaying on taxes. So we had to fix that problem. But the other was, for the business succession planning, he was the sole owner of the company. The succession plan was what's called a redemption agreement, meaning the company would buy the stock from him. Well, what's the big question then? Who owns the company once they're redeemed? So they had in a separate document what he wanted to happen, but there was no legal mechanism. So we're working to fix that right now. But the same client, and I really like working with entrepreneurs, he chose a business entity, and they're really reinvesting all their money for growth until they have their exit. And as we'll talk about later, there's something called qualified small business stock. So we reorganized them from a partnership, from a disregarded entity into a C corporation, so that they can maximize the qualified small business stock deduction, which would exclude, when they sell the stock at sale, close to $35 million based on their circumstances. So it's really looking at the situations from start to finish, and I think a holistic approach.
Yeah, that's a little bit of what I mean by soul. Because if you start at the soul, you have to look at everything, right? And so we talked a little bit about it, but we wanted to come back. I wanted to come back because whenever we're talking to potential clients, and there are a couple of people in the room here, I love to explain why we're named Basswood Tree. Most law firms are named after the founding partners. And this was a very deliberate choice on our part. We spent, I think, at least 3-4 months back and forth trying to kind of come up with the name. So we very quickly got to the place where we said, okay, well, what don't we like? So we decided everything we didn't like is what we wanted here. But then we said, well, what should we name it? Klug, not an option.
But what I should say, it means smart and intelligent in German.
Yes.
Smart and intelligent law firm, not bad.
Yeah, then we had Charles. So we and to be honest, we are a really, truly diverse team with diverse experience. And we wanted to come together to deliver law services in a new way. So then we kind of went on the hunt for a symbol. So each of us had to come together with, submit our names and symbols. And then we had more conversation around each symbol. Then we had a vote. And what was really interesting, so once somebody suggested, and actually another one of our colleagues off council who's not here with us today, Rudo suggested Basswood.
Yep.
And we said, Basswood. So we started looking at the symbolism of Basswood. And very quickly we realized, okay, that's the name. Because the Basswood tree, for us, it's not just a tree. It's a symbol. In many cultures, and some people here kind of reference this, right? It represents connection, justice, and dialogue. In many cultures, that is the locus of celebrations. And that resonated with us because law at its best, we believe, is a dialogue. The dialogue between the clients and the counsel, between the business and regulations, between what's possible and what's not possible. For us, it's also about what's possible and what's responsible.
Exactly. Yeah. We wanted a name that really captured the spirit and unity of growth we wanted. A name that captured how we want to work with our clients. A name that captured the people that we want in our circle, colleagues, other professionals, to bring everything together. A big part, and I don't know if we mentioned it yet, is being collaborative. So we're lawyers.
Yeah, it's right there. Collaboration.
We're not gods of the world, so we shouldn't tell people how to invest their money. We shouldn't tell people whatever else. If we knew how to make money, we wouldn't be sitting here. We're lawyers. But for us, it's finding the right people, the people that share our values. And when we bring our clients to those people that they know they can trust them. And we'd like to do that on a grand scale. And we think the name Basswood, the Basswood Tree, helps capture that part of it as well.
Yes. And we always tell that story with potential new clients. And we're sharing with some people today who knew us from other stages of our careers. So let's kind of look back a little bit this year, Chris. So what would you say stands out the most to you?
Part of it's the relationships we built. We can't have the collaboration. We can't have this deeply rooted, and the experience we want to have our clients and colleagues without the relationships. And our clients, our colleagues have really bought into what we're looking to do. They enjoy working with us, and we enjoy working with them, which is very important. You don't want to come into work every day and just feel like you're shuffling papers. Like I said, a stack of paper this high looks nice. Does it do anything? I don't know. Depends on what it is. But it's really the relationships for us. And also we want to be sophisticated and do customized work for our clients. And again, not just pushing paper around. But let me give some examples of what we've been doing. I want to, based in how we practice, community involvement, and professional development. I say one thing, and it kind of goes to the root of what I mentioned earlier. A lot of professionals don't listen to their client, and then they make mistakes. And then they try to blame their client or ignore the fact they made the mistake. One thing we've done, and most professionals won't do that, we'll stand up with our client, say, no, that's wrong. Whether it's an accountant, attorney, or other professional, to me, professionals need to be held accountable. And you paid someone a lot of money, they might talk to you and you can understand what they're saying, but you don't know the paper actually says it. You trust them. You put a lot of trust in them. And then if that's not what it should be, what I see too often is the professional avoids responsibility. So we truly will stand with our clients or others, just say that's not the way it should be. It's not that we like fighting with other professionals. It's more of, the client just quite frankly was done wrong, I guess is how I'll put it. And so we try to make sure we don't make those mistakes, but if we do, apologize for it and help them fix the mistake, not ignore it. Two, over the this year, we're big into professional development. So we've done a lot of speaking engagements. We spend a lot of time studying and staying on top of the law. So earlier this year, I know Meg was on a panel with the 100 Women in Finance. We've done a panel or two with the Global Chamber. And we've done a number of presentations in front of Integra International, which is an association that originally started as accounting firms from around the world. So there's 135 members. We were the first law firm to join about 3 years ago. And just this year, based on us helping them grow the legal side and the presentations we give to them, last week we got named Firm of the Year, and this is a nice trophy, or plaque we got.
Yeah.
And then also we want to be part of the community. And so as you can see, we're corporate sponsors to Washington Community Capital United, which is a youth soccer association in the U.S. Or sorry, in D.C., not just the U.S. My daughter also plays there, so there is a little self-interest there. On top of that, we're gold sponsors to an event for the D.C. Youth Orchestra where Jeff D's son is participating. While we might have some self-interest, we do have a true community belief, and we look forward to growing that.
Yeah, and part of the reason both of these efforts, and obviously we do other things individually, but these sort of Basswood efforts are youth-focused. And they're youth-focused because obviously we believe in the future, and they're also focused in areas that we think align with the Basswood ethos, which is community. I mean, when you're playing soccer, you're playing an instrument, you're having to learn how to operate in concert with others in order to achieve a goal. And that is really at the heart of collaboration, the heart of how we feel about each other in terms of how we work together, but also how we deliver services to our clients. And so we're hoping we're seeding the next generation in this space. So, I mean, I think for me, it's been watching how the ideas are taking shape and how it works. And I say that because I obviously was successful in another context at a law firm. So I know how to play or operate in that space. But having the opportunity to operate and engage with clients in the way that, allows me to really become a partner is so critically important. So for example, we will have an initial consultation up to an hour versus 15 or 20 minutes without charging the client.
That's just her.
Yes. But the reason for that is to give us an opportunity to really understand what it is that the client is attempting to achieve. Not just, here's the contract, here's the lease. I'm looking at something because we were working on a lease. So it's about understanding and making sure your client understands. Chris mentioned the comment about, we have the papers. I mean, honestly, most of us do not read paper. I know I don't, unless I'm the lawyer who's writing it. So then I'm forced to read it. But your client trusts you and assumes that you're focusing, you've got the details right. And so for me, it's really being able to operate at that level, starting with that first effort around the opportunity to bring somebody on as a client, that we establish that relationship. And, I'm happy to say I think it delivers because we bill for our services because we're providing value. But I think our clients appreciate us well beyond the payment of the services. And most importantly, feel that they can call us because the problem you don't have is far less expensive than the problem you do have that we then have to help you fix. And so with that, wanted to transition to our next segment because we wanted to talk about us, but now we want to give you ideally some things to think about in terms of some of the changes that have happened in this past year. So what does it mean, to navigate legal complexities with care in 2025? I can tell you in 2024, when we sort of came up and adopted that, we did not anticipate or see so many of the things that have occurred over just this last year happening. So part of this is staying ahead of the change. We've seen a lot of shifts between how laws and regulations intersect with innovation and how, more importantly, they're impacting our lives, our businesses and our lives. And so I'm going to let Chris wants to pick up here.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll have an interesting podcast. We'll talk about the political and tax landscape and trade wars to emerging regulations in digital assets and crypto. Of my favorite topic is the next segment. It's tax. Nothing's more exciting than tax and what the tax changes were. So with that, we'll unpack that and move into that segment shortly.
Fantastic. Thank you. We'll now move to the next segment.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. To stay up to date with the latest legal insights and Basswood events, please follow us on our Basswood Counsel LinkedIn page and visit our website at www.basswoodcounsel.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll speak to you next time.